Welcome back to the Warrior's Garden. Today we're going over what I keep in my car so that I'm prepared at all times. Let's do our scripture reading and then we'll hop into the video. Today's scripture reading comes from Ephesians 6:14 through 15. Stand firm then with the belt of truth buckled around your waist and the breastplate of righteousness in place, and with your feet fitted with the readiness that comes from the gospel of peace. Alright, so I break car preparedness down into 3 different layers. I have the things that I have on me, my everyday carry, and a bag that are in and out of the car all the time. So those are things that are pretty frequently changing and not staying in the car. And then I have my second layer. Those are things that are up front with me that I'm using way more frequently and I want easy access to while I'm driving, stopped, or whatever the case is, I can get to them. And those are up front with me. And then finally, my third layer is things that I keep in the very back in a tote. I'm not getting in and out of them nearly as often. But they're worst case scenario type stuff. And those are things, like I said, I keep in the back of the car. So I'm going to show you guys, I'm going to skip the everyday carry stuff because I made a video on that, but I'm going to show you guys what I keep up front with me and then the stuff in the back. Before I do that, though, I want to talk about the purpose of why I have this stuff in my car. Because I think if you don't know why why you want to keep what you want to keep in your car, you're not going to know what to keep in your car. So the purpose of my stuff is if I got stuck somewhere, I would be able to make it through the night and then hopefully get out of there or get back to home the next day. So my stuff is more geared towards that. Not that I'm doing a whole lot of like off-roading or anything crazy, but I have gone to some trails that are a little further out for hiking or different outdoor adventures, for lack of a better term. And if for whatever reason I got stuck out on that trailhead, I'd want to be able to make sure I had the supplies I needed for that night, or if my car just broke down on the side of the road and I wasn't able to get somebody out there due to loss of signal or service, whatever the case might be. So that's kind of the purpose of my box and how it's set up. This is not for me to go fight a war from. There's other stuff I keep in my bag that's more, my backpack that's more set for that type of scenario. So keep that in mind as we go through the things in here. But that's what my box is more set up for, is to get myself out of trouble in a sticky situation that you might find yourself in your car. So let's get into it and I'll show you guys what I keep. All right, y'all, we're inside the car now. I'm going to show you guys my second layer of things. All right, first things first, as we pan down, I keep a good pair of waterproof or water-resistant gloves up front. Never know when you have to get out and change a tire or pull somebody out of a car, broken glass, wet, cold, rain, snow, whatever it is. Keep your hands protected with some good gloves. And then up front here in this front storage area, I keep locked in here little Gerber seatbelt cutter. You can pull across / window breaker, just in the place that either I or my passenger could get at any time. Try and get back in there without looking. Up front in the glove box, just some pretty simple things, but a headlight, it's always good to have a way to produce light without having to hold your phone or a flashlight. And then I keep extra batteries in there as well. And then up under the passenger seat, which I can reach with either hand, I keep a little, a little medical pouch. And I'll have a picture up here with everything in here, but typical boo-boo stuff like Band-Aids and, Band-Aids, gauze, chest seals, things like that, tourniquet. There's trauma shears on there, flashlight. You're able to get into there and do some more serious medical work as well as some less serious stuff like little cuts or whatever. And then up front, the last thing is a Gerber. Gerbers do what Gerbers do, so I'm sure you can think of lots of applications for these. All right, so the first thing for the back of my car isn't even actually in the back of my car. It is a shovel. I keep a full-size shovel up here on top of my car. I will show you guys that a little more closely. But I live in a very snowy area, and I think it's super important that you have a full-size shovel so you can dig yourself out or someone else out of a sticky situation. I have dug more cars out than we have pulled out. I think most times you can just dig yourself out and save yourself the trouble of hooking up tow straps and everything. Unless you're really, really stuck, a good shovel will do the trick. And having like I said, an emphasis on a full-size good shovel. You can dig twice as much snow in half as much time as some people that have, the little wimpy half shovels or whatever they are. So this is the first item. This is a seasonal item, so obviously this isn't up in the summer, but I keep this up on top of the car. And yeah, it gets used a lot in the winter. First things first, back of the car, I keep toilet paper. Yeah, you don't want to get caught without it. Don't have to use your hanky or your sock. And so yeah, I keep a roll of toilet paper back here. I would say that is probably the most essential item in this entire vehicle. Next thing I keep in my car is this stool. Definitely not an essential thing, but it's nice to have, whether you forget it when you're going hiking or camping, or you're on the beach, whatever. If you don't have a stool, this is a nice little foldable one. Yeah, I don't know, like I said, it's not essential, but I like to have it, so it stays in the car. Next up is this black box. Now this is, move this for you. This is stuff that I keep for repair on the car / hunting, fishing type things. I got ratchet straps, WD-40, a bright yellow vest in here, some paracord, ratchet set, just little things that I have to keep the car up and running / minor things that I could fix possibly. And yeah, mainly like it's stuff that I can strap the kayak up top when I go hunting. So this is sometimes in the car, sometimes it's not. But the big box, the big tote, this is what I keep the majority of my stuff in. This is just a Rubbermaid Roughneck is what it's called, and this is where I keep the majority of my things. So let's get into it. The first things first is a tarp. I don't remember exactly how big this tarp is, but it's a pretty decent sized tarp, right? It's bright blue on one side and brown on the other. So applications, there's lots of them, whether you had to build a shelter overnight because your car broke down, which, yeah, you could stay in your car, but your car's going to get cold unless you leave it running, and then you run out of gas. So we'll talk more about that with some other stuff in here. But and even just more simple stuff. Somebody breaks down, it's super wet and gross outside, and you're trying to help them with their car. Maybe you're fixing their tire or something. You don't want to get down in the super slushy wet snow and soak yourself before you have to drive another couple hours. You can throw a tarp down real quick, and then you stay dry, and you're not rolling around in the snow. So first things first, tarp. You'll notice as I go through this, things are kind of put in here in order of what I would need first, I think, how I've kind of played it out in my mind. So um, I keep things that I would need last towards the bottom if things were really bad, and then things that are more likely to be used towards the top. Next up are chem lights. Again, tons of applications. Mark your spot. I don't think they really replace a road flare, but they're good to have. Even if I don't know, your headlight ran out of battery or something, then you got another way to create light. So I got a couple chem lights. After that is an old Carhartt jacket, just a dark brown, non-conspicuous jacket. So I guess if it was cold out, you could layer up, get some extra layers on you. This is a thicker, heavier jacket. If you had to hike back out of somewhere, this is not going to draw a lot of attention to you. So you could throw this on and cover up and get going. But extra layers, extra warmth. Next thing in here is a thicker blanket. Now, this is something that would rotate. There's things in this box that would rotate. Most of it stays the same, but this is something that would come out. If it was colder, we've had a pretty warm summer, so normally this would be a sleeping bag in the summer. But like I said, because it's been warmer, I don't really think it warrants having a bigger bag, so I've just had this blanket in here instead. Next up, this is the only gun-related things in here. I have a full AR mag and a 27-round Glock magazine. If I'm using these, it's probably a pretty bad day. I keep other magazines in my bag, and I keep two on me with my pistol. But you never know. Better safe than sorry when it comes to ammunition. Better to be redundant. Now here's where we get more into the stuff. Where if I had to stay out overnight, I could, and I would be just fine. So first things first. Ball cap just folds up super flat and throw it in there. Not like a huge general purpose, but keep the sun off of you if it was hot or whatever the case would be. Ball cap's not a bad thing to have. And then with that, because I live in a cold area, like I said, I have 2 different stocking hats. If somebody else was out with me, I got one for them, one for me. Or I have one that's not as visible if I don't want to make myself known to somebody. And then I have a super bright hunter's orange one where I can be as bright as I need to be and get somebody's attention. So 2 different stocking caps. More toilet paper, because again, you don't ever want to be caught with your pants down unable to wipe. So next up is a poncho. This is just an old army poncho. It's got the grommets in it, so you can create a rain shelter or a fly or tarp out of it. You can put it over your bag and keep your stuff dry. As many purposes you can think for a poncho. There, you got it. So
After that, I have a hatchet. I need to get sheaths for this, but I got duct tape around the blade right now just to keep it from cutting somebody or myself. But again, with the purpose in mind of if I got stranded overnight and I needed to stay warm and I didn't want to keep my car running all night long, I'd be able to go cut some firewood up, keep a fire going. Yeah, I think this is kind of an essential thing for what I like doing. And it's good to have in case I forgot one on a camping trip or whatever the case might be. I have one in my car, but I think this is good for what my purpose is. That's something I didn't talk about earlier in the purpose of it, but like, this is not a one size fits all. What I have in here is not probably what you need or not exactly what you need, right? There's a lot of things that will correlate and some things that won't. So don't just take this and be like, that's what I have to have in my car. These are things that work for me and fit my purpose. Some mechanics gloves, and then some heavy duty, thicker, warmer gloves. A couple different hankies, all three bright colors. You can use them all for signaling if you needed to. After that, more paracord, again, bright and dark. After that, this would never be a primary shovel because I got the one on the roof, but I do have another shovel in here that I could get to, and this one's got the pickaxe little prong thing so you can break ice or do whatever you needed to do with it. I don't think it's a bad idea to have it with me, but it's not a primary shovel by any means. I have used it before for digging poop holes, but yeah, so that's what that is. Trash bag, again, waterproof your things. I don't know, pick up trash after yourself, whatever the case might be, but trash bag. After that, I got 3 bottles of water, plus whatever I would have on me for that day. So just another way to have water. I don't carry a ton of extra water in the back of my car because it's heavy, it takes a lot of space, and I think there's other easier ways to get water. I live in Michigan, so there's water literally all over the place. So I keep those 3 bottles, and then on top of that, I keep a life straw in my car because I can now drink water with less risk or worry of getting sick from drinking whatever I find in nature. So that's the reason for carrying less water in the back of the car. Again, one night, 3 bottles should be plenty, but I do have a life straw if I need it, excuse me. Pocket knife, just an extra one. Electrical tape. I have 2 space blankets. Again, if it's not just me, then I have an extra for somebody. They're also super bright. You could use them to flag somebody down, get somebody's attention. But yeah, 2 space blankets to stay warm. Next, I have a couple different ways to make fire. So I have these pieces of rope that are dipped in wax to start a fire. Super good for starting fires. Just a standard Bic lighter, excuse me. I have this little canister that untwists, and I have matches, Strike Anywhere matches that also have the actual strike patch from a matchbox that's been cut off and jammed in here. And then finally, this ferro rod that has a whistle on it as well, so you could, start a fire with that. But there you go. All right, last but definitely not least, this is a little bit more into the survive overnight type thing. Oh, actually, hang on, sorry. Another way to produce heat easily and quickly, I have hand warmers. I got 3 different packs. So hand warmers are always good to have. They take up no space, and like I said, quick, easy way to produce heat that takes literally no effort from you. So next, I have 2 different means of food back here. I have like snacky type stuff. So I got a bunch of granola bars and some beef jerky. Now there's things that if I had to hike out of somewhere, they're very easy. You can just throw them in a backpack, take up no extra space, lots of calories and protein in here. So granola bars, super easy, and I just keep those in the back. And then my last 2 things, I have a couple meals back here. So the first one I got is a Mountain House. These obviously have to boil water and would be a little bit more involved, but it's super light. So I don't know. I don't think it's a bad thing to have back here. It's an extra from an old camping trip, and like I said, it's a little bit more involved in how you make it, but it's good to have an extra serving, again, in case somebody else was with me or whatever the case might be. But finally, I have 2 stripped out MREs in here. So I have one full MRE and a half MRE, I guess would be the way to look at it. I have 2 full meals. So these again are meals that for me and one other person, and I could eat these with no extra prep like the Mountain House. I mean, I can eat these straight from the bag. And then I have all the snacks from one of the MREs. I just did that for space. So again, I have 2 full meals, and then I have all the snacks from another MRE. So plenty of food to get you through one night, maybe a day or two, and then hopefully be back into civilization. So that's what I keep in the back of the car. All of this stuff is things that I have or have had, like it's not a new Carhartt, it's just an old one that I had. It's not a new tarp. So this is definitely a budget, affordable way that you can pack out your car. I think there's definitely a time and a place to buy the most expensive things and have the most expensive things. And I definitely think there's a time that the stuff you have works just fine. So for this scenario, what I have I think will do me well, and I'm not too worried about having, like I said, a brand new jacket or some crazy space blanket. Hopefully I never have to use this stuff, but I have it in case I do. And yeah, this pretty much always stays in my car. Occasionally things will get changed out of it, like I said, the food or things like that. But it's good to have something like this in your car. Something that slipped my mind while I was filming, I don't really know how I forgot it, but is jumper cables. Keep a pair of jumper cables extra long in my car. Thank you guys so much for watching the end of the video. Hopefully this has been helpful to you guys to show you that you can put a kit together in the back of your car for relatively an inexpensive amount, things that you have already around the house, whatever it might be. But as men, we need to be prepared. We need to plan ahead for different situations as they arise so we can best help other people in those situations. Yeah, so I think that's super important. Again, thank you guys for watching. This channel's grown way faster than I thought it would, which has been a huge encouragement to me. A couple other admin things, I guess. I just created an Instagram channel for the YouTube where I'll be posting what the upcoming videos will be and some other stuff on there. So if you guys want to see what's coming up ahead of time, you go to Instagram and it's called The Warriors Garden YT. If you guys want to go follow that, you'll get a little heads up on what my videos will be. Thank you again for watching. Be a man, be prepared. I'll see you in the next video.